Tonight on Newswatch, the Ohio Department of Health confirms new cases in the measles outbreak, what you need to know to keep your family safe from the highly contagious virus. Plus, a new local program helps fight pet hunger so families can keep their furry friends. And in sports, a pair of Bobcat linebackers hit the transfer portal, leaving questions for the defense. Newswatch starts right now. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Charlie Ehlenfeld. Welcome to Newswatch. Before we get to our top stories for the night, let's take it to our weather forecaster, Isabel Isco. Isabel, a freeze advisory will go into effect for our region later tonight. Can we expect the sun to come out anytime soon?
Fortunately, looking later into the week, we are seeing some sun, but it is going to be a little bit colder and a little bit dreary out there these next couple days. We had this cold front moving its way through. A little bit of that low pressure system giving us those clouds for these next couple days. Athens right now 42, Lancaster 43. As we head a little bit more west, we're seeing Wilmington and Springfield in those high 30s. We are going to see those temperatures really cool down looking into tonight. Our overnight low of 35 combined with a little bit of that wind we've been having today, it is going to set those wind chills about freezing at 32. So we are under this frost advisory like Charlie was talking about for Athens. As we hit more west, we are under a freeze warning. Mostly this means that if you put out any of those indoor plants whenever it was warmer out there, those need to come back inside. And I'll talk more about that in my full forecast, along with when those showers are coming back. Let's take it back over to Charlie.
Thanks, Isabel. Measles cases continue to rise across the nation, including here in Ohio. Today, the Ohio Department of Health confirmed 20 measles cases in the state. 11 in Ashtabula County near Cleveland, 7 in Knox, and 1 each in Allen and Holmes County. The outbreak in Ashtabula County started with an unvaccinated adult who interacted with someone who traveled internationally. Measles is a highly contagious airborne virus that spreads easily when an infected person breathes, coughs, or sneezes. The virus is spreading fast in undervaccinated communities. The best way to avoid measles is to get the measles, mumps, and rubella, or MMR vaccine. The Ohio House's new budget proposal could significantly expand abortion reporting requirements in the state. The proposal mandates the Ohio Department of Health to establish an online dashboard to report the number of abortions performed across the state each month. Under the new requirements, healthcare providers would need to report detailed patient information such as education level, zip code, menstrual history, number of previous abortions, Rh factor in blood, method of contraception used at the time of conception, if any. Supporters of the measure say the reporting system is outdated and the new dashboard would provide more relevant data. While abortion rights activists say the state is collecting medically unnecessary information and infringing on patient privacy. A new program is making sure pets in Southeast Ohio don't go hungry. Bark of Athens and the Southeast Ohio Food Bank launched a program aimed at fighting food insecurity for both pets and their owners. HAPCAP says nearly 17% of southeastern Ohioans are impoverished and most own pets. This combination has led to an increase in animal surrenders in overcrowded shelters. The executive director of Bark says pet owners are often met with the choice of surrendering their furry friend or feeding themselves.
I don't think any dog and any displacement between a bond between a human and a pet should occur because of the inability to feed oneself and your companion.
PetSmart and Feeding America have donated hundreds of bags of pet food to the Southeastern Ohio Food Bank. Once donations are delivered, they are sorted and distributed to people in need. Organizers hope that through donations and outreach opportunities, community members will work together to keep furry friends in their forever homes. Donations can be made online at hapcap.org/giveforpets. WOUB is your source for the news in Southeast Ohio. For the latest news, weather, and sports from across the region, head to our website, woub.org, or download the WOUB app. For the average consumer just trying to plan a budget, this week has been a lot to sort through. From dramatic market ups and downs to tariff confusion, a new study shows economic chaos is stoking consumer pessimism. Karen Kafa is in Washington with a look at why that matters.
Americans feel uneasy about the economy, according to a closely watched monthly survey from the University of Michigan. The pessimism, driven in part by consumer expectations that inflation will push higher by the end of the year.
When prices go up, sort of by definition, people buy less. And when they buy less and there's less demand, and you see this decline in consumer and investor sentiment.
The University of Michigan, which conducted its consumer sentiment interviews prior to President Trump's announcement of a 90-day pause on some tariffs, says trade war developments have turned consumers more sour on the economy, with the expectation that unemployment will rise as well. Wild swings in the stock market will likely persist too, strategists say, unless there's more certainty around the tariffs.
It's going to be very difficult for the markets to find any stability unless and until we get to a place where some of the negotiations turn into some trade deals.
Both Wall Street and the Federal Reserve will be watching to see how consumer pessimism and market anxiety impact consumer spending, which drives about 70% of the U.S. economic engine.
Volatility is here to stay. The market isn't going directly down, doesn't seem to be going directly up. A lot of ups and downs each day. And that means diversification in your portfolio is more important than ever.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
New data from the Labor Department shows U.S. wholesale prices fell last month. It's an indication of a strong economy before the bulk of President Donald Trump's aggressive trade policies kicked in. And the Producer Price Index reveals prices paid to producers fell 0.4% in March from February and slowed on an annual basis of 2.7%. The PPI is a closely watched measurement of wholesale inflation. This index is also under scrutiny so economists can learn more about the initial impacts of Trump's sweeping and new proposed tariffs. The U.S. dollar value plunges to its lowest level in 3 years this morning. The dollar dropped nearly 2% by 5 a.m. today and hit $1.14 against the euro. That's the dollar's weakest value against the euro since February 2022. The U.S. dollar index, which measures the dollar's value against other major currencies, also weakened 1.3% by the same time today. It comes as the trade war between the United States and China is escalating. Beijing announced this morning that it's raised its retaliatory tariffs on U.S. imports to 125%. A U.S. district judge is demanding to know how the Trump administration is facilitating the return of a man it deported illegally. That's after a Supreme Court ruling last night requiring the government to take steps in the case. The Trump administration says it accidentally sent the man to El Salvador because of an administrative error. The Supreme Court says deporting him was illegal, but that doesn't guarantee his return, as Amy Kiley reports.
This was an extraordinary, unanimous rebuke.
Is it okay to deport someone illegally, send them to a prison in El Salvador, and not facilitate their return? The Supreme Court says no in a ruling last night. It says the Trump administration must take steps for the release of Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia, but it's stopping short of requiring the government to bring him home. The Justice Department points out the ruling defers to the executive branch when it comes to foreign affairs. It argues the U.S. can't force El Salvador to free the man from its notorious prison. The Trump administration is paying that country $6 million to keep U.S. deportees at that facility.
The question is, how hard will the Trump administration try to get Mr. Garcia back, if at all?
In a statement, Abrego Garcia's wife says she's anxious to have him back in Maryland with their children. A judge's 2019 decision bars his deportation, even though he entered the U.S. illegally. The Trump administration claims he's a suspected ranking member of the MS-13 gang. His lawyers deny that, and he's never been charged with a crime. His attorney says if he doesn't come back, that would be a sign that, quote, the government can deport whomever they want.
What remains mysterious about this order is what happens if Mr. Garcia doesn't come back, and how does the court try to enforce something that's entirely in another country?
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Coming up, a fatal helicopter crash in New York City is raising safety concerns. Experts question what made the helicopter plunge into the Hudson River. And experts are sounding the alarm about the toll summer travel can take on your body. What you need to know to travel safely on your next vacation.
Freezing temperatures this weekend, but a warm up next week. Next on Newswatch.
Katavi's drought imprisons all who stay. Even when rain arrives, relief is short-lived. The waters flood Katavi and pose new threats. Will these hunters survive until salvation comes?
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
Imagine a world where nature thrives. Paradise. If we want to live here too, we must find ways to be a force for good throughout the natural world and build a future with nature.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
Entire towns were completely submerged. 1,000 miles of coastline was impacted.
In collaboration with the Howard Center for Investigative Journalism.
Do you think they really grasp the dire straits that are facing Alaska Native villages?
The impact of climate change on Alaska's native villages.
It is discouraging to think about our way of life, our life way changing.
We have to wake up before it becomes too late.
Premieres Tuesday, April 22nd, 10, 9 Central, only on PBS.
That is utterly remarkable.
Whales coming up?
Hold on.
This is huge. Here we go.
The more whales you have, the healthier the ocean is.
They're the biggest land animals that have ever existed.
The most special thing is going somewhere that nobody ever has before.
It's perfect.
Taking a look all across southeast Ohio, we're seeing Athens currently 42, Lancaster 43, Zanesville 42, and as we head a little bit more west, we're seeing those temperatures a little bit cooler. Wilmington 39, Springfield 39. Those are going to continue to cool down looking at tonight. Tonight, the overnight low for Athens is 35. Combined with that wind that we've been having all day, we are seeing those wind chills looking at about that freezing point of 32. Mostly cloudy skies continuing, and that'll be going all throughout this weekend. We're seeing this frost advisory for Athens County as we head towards Jackson, Ironton, and as we go past there, we are seeing this freeze warning. If you have any outdoor plants that could be brought inside, bring them inside. They might get injured from this frost. And if you had any hoses outside from whenever it was warmer, might as well bring those in while you're at it. They are going to freeze from these temperatures getting that cold. We're seeing all across the United States this cold front that really pushed in, bringing our temperatures to those mid 40s all day today. Didn't get past 42, and that low pressure system that gave us just a little bit of rain a couple days ago, that did move its way out. So we've been cleared just a little bit of those clouds and very much a cool down. But for tomorrow, we're going to have those temperatures warm up just a little bit. That temperature high of 55, the low of 32, still at that freezing point for the morning and for tomorrow night. Mostly cloudy skies continuing. Once we're seeing 12 hours ahead, that high pressure system is going to be a little bit off to the west, still continuing to give us those clouds. That low pressure system giving that rain is going to be pushing off even further. So we're really going to be in this lull of just some dreary, a little bit colder weather than we've been having from these last few days. And that's going to be continuing once we look 24 hours ahead and 36 hours ahead. That's whenever this next system that we might be getting for our Monday, Tuesday is developing off to the west. That low pressure system combined with a little bit of a warm front that it's looking like that we're going to have a little bit of a warm up combined with that rain. Again, 48 hours ahead, that system continuing to grow. We're seeing on that 7-day outlook, Saturday, Sunday, a little bit of that warm up before we hit Monday for that high of the week of 75. But this weekend, we're seeing those temperatures going to be in those low 40s, especially for your Sunday morning. We do have that Athens Marathon for your Sunday morning. Those runners at 8 a.m. It is going to be a chilly one, looking like it's going to be in those low 40s to start off. But once we hit 11 for our Sunday, it is going to warm up and feel more like those 50s and then go into the 60s as our day continues on. Then Monday, 75 for our high, low of 46. We're going to see that chance of showers that we're seeing at our Monday night, and then Tuesday for those 20% chance of showers possible. It's going to be mostly in the morning. We're going to need to bundle up once again though, because those temperatures, once that rain moves in, are going to cool down. And then once we hit this time next week, 50% chance of rain, back into those 60s once again. Kind of all over the place, but hopefully once you get past these few days of freezing temperatures, we won't be hitting that once again. Let's take it back over to Charlie.
Thanks, Isabel. A frightening helicopter crash was caught on camera in New York City. But as the dust settles from the crash, there are more questions than answers. Laura Aguirre has the story.
I see like a helicopter disintegrate in midair, and then I heard a loud sound.
This witness, like many living along the Hudson River, watched as the tourist helicopter plummeted into the water, killing the pilot, along with Siemens executive Agustin Escobar, his wife, and 3 children.
Oh my gosh.
Many captured video moments telling a terrifying tale. A former Federal Aviation Administration safety inspector, who's also a former mechanic on the helicopter model involved, says this crash leaves him stunned.
I've never seen anything like this at all. You can see that the main rotor is separated from the helicopter and it turned upside down. The tail boom is also missing.
FAA records show that the Bell Long Ranger model had an airworthiness certificate valid through 2029, and that federal authorities had previously investigated the company operating the helo for their involvement in 2 prior safety incidents, one in 2013, another in 2015. Maintenance records are not made public, and the NTSB restricts what companies can disclose during an ongoing investigation, but witness accounts may give some experts a clue.
I was working, but I heard this like really loud noise.
As soon as I heard the noise, I came out.
That would be indicative of the main rotor hitting the tail boom and breaking that tail boom off and separating the rotor from the system.
Were there hidden defects in the metals and the materials and the blades in the shaft right out of the manufacturer that sort of sat in this aircraft like a ticking time bomb until through fatigue and weather it failed?
All possibilities that will be examined closely by the FAA and NTSB. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
The company Duda Farm Fresh Foods is recalling its prepackaged celery sticks sold at Walmart for possible Listeria contamination. The advisory covers more than 1,500 cases of 4-pack market-side celery sticks. They were distributed across multiple states, including Ohio. Consumers who have this product, including in their freezer, should throw it out. So far, no illnesses have been reported in connection with the product. The advisory does not apply to any other market-side or Duda Fresh Farm Goods products. Summer keeps getting closer, and so are those long-awaited summer vacations. But experts say long summer travel can take a toll. Mandy Gaither has more with Health Minute.
It's a season of travel, and whether you're vacationing by car or by plane, experts say long trips can take a toll on your body.
Blood clots are very rare with air travel, but they are not uncommon with long distance travel. You're talking about travel more than 4 or 5 hours.
Cardiologist Dr. Sumith Alady with Orlando Health says a blood clot can be life-threatening. Symptoms include swelling, pain, or tenderness in the legs, especially if it's in just one leg. Skin may also be red and warm to the touch. If you have these symptoms, seek care immediately.
If you delay that and if you take some time, then that blood clot may have broken off and you're giving a chance to develop a blood clot in the lungs, which is more life-threatening.
To prevent blood clots on long trips, a lady says to take breaks. In the car, stop every couple of hours to stretch your legs. On a plane, wearing compression socks can help reduce swelling and improve blood flow. If you can't stand up, you can also try calf exercises while seated to keep the blood moving.
You can do some toe lifts or heel lifts, squeeze your calves.
A lady says knowing your risk is also important. You're more likely to get blood clots if there's a personal or family history of them, or if you have weight or vein problems. Those who are pregnant or recently had surgery are also at increased risk. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Next in sports, the transfer portal is giving Ohio football some problems. Find out which 2 players departed today and their impact when we come back.
Don't we all need a little fun?
What do you suggest?
All will be revealed.
Now, if you'll allow me to begin.
Do what you must.
The life we've chosen is about love.
That will require some difficult decisions.
I gave the king what he asked for.
Yes, I wonder, will he ever forgive you for it?
Some close to you do not wish you well.
I have to be a queen with real power.
Sunday on WOUB.
On Masterpiece, Jane Austen was my sister. He was saddled with me forever. Perhaps there is a biography to be written. Everything one needs to know is found within the pages of her novels. Did she ever know love? There's sure to be letters. that will cast up all manner of treasure. Wherever would you think that?
Miss Austen on Masterpiece.
Craving adventure? Passport is your ticket to the hottest destinations in drama. Check into luxurious hotels. Hit exclusive beaches. But fair warning, travel plans can sometimes get complicated. If you've got the itch for drama, travel the world and stream now with Passport on the PBS app.
Regardless of your stage of life, whether you're starting your first job, getting the keys to a new home, or enjoying retirement, it's never too early or too late to create an estate plan to care for loved ones and support the causes that are meaningful to you. WOUB Public Media is pleased to have partnered with Giving Dogs, a free resource for building an estate plan that fits your needs and protects the people and causes you care about. Visit WOUB.org and click the Support tab to get started today.
The reality of college sports in 2025 is this. Players are on one-year contracts now. With the spring transfer portal open for Ohio football, Ohio has to respond with even more players on the way out. This time, it's 2 linebackers departing, including an all-MAC player. Caden Schmitz and Shea Taylor were both key contributors last season. Taylor was a true field general. He's all over the field, tallying multiple interceptions and sacks throughout the year. Now, while Taylor has 1 year of eligibility left, Schmitz, on the other hand, he's got 2 years remaining, subbing in at linebacker when needed, notching 3 total sacks during the 2024 season. Shea Taylor took to social media to thank Bobcats fans, and it's especially tough goodbye for him as Taylor grew up just an hour away from Athens playing football at Sheridan High School. Both Taylor and Schmitz are rumored to be joining former Bobcats head coach Tim Albin in Charlotte. Like I mentioned before, Ohio now faces the reality of even more players leaving, and the position group affected the most is by far that front 6. What you're seeing on your screen right here is Ohio's starting front 6 in the MAC championship game. Only one of these players is returning to Athens and Braille and Henderson. Rotation pieces like Schmitz have left as well. Defensive lineman Cam Rice and Marcel Walker-Burgess add to that list. Ohio softball has been on a tear to start the season and sit near the top of the MAC, and their success continued today with a win over the struggling Toledo Rockets. Another low-scoring affair for the Bobcats. That's exactly what they wanted. When Skip Miller's on the mound, the other team's not going to be scoring many runs. She shut down the Rockets with yet another complete game and allowed just 6 hits over 7 innings. An RBI single in the bottom of the 4th by Abby Kennelly proved to be just enough on the scoring front for a 3-2 win. Ohio's positioned well for tomorrow's doubleheader against Toledo. Preseason MAC favorites are still sitting near the top, and the series with Miami is looming large. We've been talking about it for weeks. It's going to be one of, if not the most important series these two teams have ever played. That starts next Friday in Athens. One of the more interesting stories in college football right now is what's happening with fellow MAC team Kent State, as the program has fired its head coach in the middle of spring camp. Kenny Burns' tenure at Kent State could really only be described as awful. He won just 1 game in 2 years. Burns wasn't let go during the initial coachal carousel, though. He was placed on leave 2 weeks ago, allegedly without explanation, which has led Burns to pursue legal action against Kent State. We're going to stay with Kent State here, but this time on the links is arguably the greatest golfer in MAC history, and former Golden Flash Corey Connors is in the mix at Augusta National right now. Connors, the 2012 MAC champion, has a solid professional golf career so far, but is firmly in contention to win the most prestigious tournament in golf. He is near the top of the leaderboard. Names like Rory McIlroy, Bryson DeChambeau, Scotty Scheffler. Connors is poised for a late afternoon tee time tomorrow. All right, well, football, it's tough right now. Transfer portal, just not a lot of good stuff. But, hey, still some time to go get some more recruits, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it seems like OU's getting hit pretty hard right now, but they're starting to get some back, especially in basketball. You know, a lot of time to figure out what's going on at linebacker. And there's some good homegrown guys, too.
Yeah, I think just right now you're going to have to deal with the reality that this is what college athletics is now. Group of 5 programs like Ohio, you're just going to pluck. It's like the minor leagues at this point.
Yeah, and, you know, they got a lot of great contributions from that transfer portal last year, you know, Coleman Owens especially. So, you know, they're gonna get hurt from it. They're going to benefit from it. You know, it all shakes out in the end of the day. So, yeah, you know, just an exciting new time, but also, you know, sort of a terrifying new time for college sports. Well, still ahead, this superintendent has a fun challenge in store to make students score better on the ACTs.
The Ohio Art Corridor is a destination experience. We would like this to be the largest outdoor art gallery in the world.
Portsmouth was able to field an incredible team for a brief moment in the sun that almost was sweet enough to get them a national championship.
We got land granted to us in Ohio. Great opportunity. Let's go. How would you know you got here? It was just sheer determination and patience and just hard, back-breaking work.
The bridge was acclaimed at the time of being an engineering marvel.
Progress is all about taking the lessons of the past and doing better. So I would hope that now that we know better, we will do better.
For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow from the Maryland Zoo. The treasures are surprising.
It's always been a conversation piece.
It is a little gem, honestly.
But the reactions are priceless.
Oh my goodness. I'm speechless.
Wow, that's fantastic. That is fantastic.
Watch Antiques Roadshow next time from the Maryland Zoo in Baltimore.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
People left some pretty weird stuff behind in Ubers last year. That's according to the rideshare company's 9th annual Lost and Found Index. The most unique items lost includes a mannequin head with human hair, a Viking drinking horn, Ghostbusters ghost trap, chainsaw, breast milk, a turtle Ozempic, and 10 live lobsters. The top 3 most common items left behind in an Uber in 2024 were phones, wallets, and keys in that order. For phones, a total of 1.7 million iPhones and Androids were left behind. The top food items included 175 hamburger sliders, and the top luxury items included a gold Rolex and Air Jordans worth $1,800. For most high school students, standardized testing like the ACT are causes for stress. But for juniors at Oregon High School in Illinois, there is more at stake. To encourage positive study habits, Oregon High School District Superintendent P.J. Capozzi is taking the math section of the ACT and will offer a prize to students who score higher than him.
Fun little challenge that I think the kids have gotten excited about, and we're hoping that they try their absolute best on the ACT when it comes out next week.
Capozzi first started the challenge 15 years ago when he was a principal and says that in that time he only lost to 3 students. The district hopes this fun challenge will encourage kids to do their best not only on the ACT but also in other subjects. Well, that's a great motivator, but speaking of motivation, how's this weather looking for these runners this weekend? Big race coming up, oldest marathon in the state, Athens Marathon.
Athens Marathon, it is going to be looking like it's going to be a chilly one out there. We are under that frost advisory that goes until from 2 a.m. tomorrow morning until 10 a.m. Saturday morning. And then Sunday, we're having those temperatures in those low 40s. To start off the race at 8 a.m., it is looking like it is going to be in those low 40s. But once it starts getting going, about 11, it is going to be warming up and be in those 50s once again. Next week, on Monday, Tuesday, we do have a slight chance of rain warming up for our week. Then we're going to be cooling back down, going back to average for these springtime temperatures. And then Friday, this time next week, we do have a chance of rain once again.
Gotcha. 40s, not great for most people, not too bad for runners. Then you start to get the body moving. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For Isabel Isco and Grant Kiefer, I'm Charlie Ehlenfeld. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. Have a great
This is Passport, your ticket to stream complete seasons, early release